Manila, a city known for its vibrant energy and bustling streets, was suddenly thrust into chaos as anti-corruption protests spiraled out of control. What began as a peaceful demonstration, with thousands of citizens demanding accountability and reform, quickly took a dark turn as night fell and tensions mounted. The movement was hijacked by masked agitators who infiltrated the crowds and unleashed a wave of destruction. Police vehicles were set ablaze, their flames lighting up the night sky, while storefronts and local businesses were vandalized and looted, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The epicenter of the chaos was Ayala Bridge and Mendiola Street, iconic locations that became battlegrounds as protesters and riot police clashed violently. The confrontations escalated rapidly, with both sides hurling projectiles and tear gas filling the air, making the situation even more volatile. The sudden eruption of violence sent shockwaves through the city. Residents watched in disbelief and fear as their neighborhoods transformed overnight, exposing deep-seated frustrations and anger that had been simmering beneath the surface for years. In the aftermath, authorities responded with a heavy hand. Over 200 people were arrested, including several minors, as police sought to regain control and restore order to the streets. The violence left more than 100 police officers injured, some seriously, highlighting the intensity and unpredictability of the clashes that had erupted. As dawn broke, Manila awoke to a city transformed. Streets were littered with debris, burned-out vehicles, and shattered glass, the scars of conflict visible everywhere. The original call for justice and reform was now overshadowed by haunting images of mayhem and destruction. For many residents, the violence had turned once familiar streets into danger zones. People moved cautiously, wary of further unrest, and a sense of tension and uncertainty hung heavily in the air. The unrest served as a stark reminder of the volatile potential that lies within mass demonstrations, especially when anger and frustration are left unaddressed. As the sun set once again, Manila remained on edge, its citizens anxious and bracing for what might come next, uncertain if peace would return or if the spark of violence would ignite once more. The protests that erupted in Manila were not just spontaneous outbursts. They were the result of a deep, simmering anger that had been building for years. The immediate spark was a massive corruption scandal, one that exposed the loss of billions of pesos to fake flood control projects. These projects, which were supposed to protect communities from devastating floods, turned out to be nothing more than a cover for siphoning public funds. The shocking revelations came to light when President Marcos Jr. addressed the nation, confirming the scale of the deception and the involvement of high-ranking officials. The scandal confirmed the public's worst fears. Taxpayer money meant for vital infrastructure had simply vanished, leaving behind empty construction sites and unfinished projects that served as daily reminders of broken promises. With over 100 billion pesos at stake, the outrage was about more than just the staggering amount of money lost. It was about the betrayal of public trust, the dashed hopes for safer communities, and the countless opportunities stolen from ordinary Filipinos. For many, this scandal was the final straw in a long and painful history of government corruption. Generations of Filipinos have witnessed similar betrayals, each one eroding faith in the system a little more. The so-called ghost projects quickly became a powerful symbol of systemic rot, representing not just one incident, but a pattern of abuse that had plagued the nation for decades. These phantom projects were visible proof of how deep the problem ran. Protesters from all walks of life, students, workers, parents, and elders, came together, united by exhaustion and frustration. They were tired of a cycle of impunity, where those in power seemed to act without consequence, and broken trust was the norm. Their anger was not just about this one scandal, but about a culture of corruption that had held the nation back for generations. It was a collective outcry against a system that prioritized personal gain over public good. The streets of Manila became the stage for a citizenry demanding accountability, transparency, and real change. The sheer scale of the protests sent a clear message. The people would no longer be silent. The protests were a forceful declaration. Enough is enough. Filipinos had reached their breaking point, and they were determined to reclaim their future from the grip of corruption. As violence flared, police responded with tear gas and water cannons, turning protest sites into battlegrounds. The crackdown led to injuries and mass arrests, drawing criticism from human rights groups who called the tactics excessive. Images of riot police confronting unarmed citizens deepened public distrust. Protest leaders remained defiant, framing the crackdown as proof of an unresponsive government. Both sides dug in, with police risking further alienation and protesters fighting for legitimacy. The city's streets became a dramatic conflict zone, order versus change. The tension was palpable, with Manila holding its breath for what would come next. The prospect of dialogue seemed distant amid the chaos. The unrest upended daily life in Manila, with police patrolling every major street and a citywide sense of anxiety. Schools closed and curfews for minors were imposed, highlighting the disruption's reach. Businesses suffered losses, commuters faced delays, and routines were shattered. Even as violence subsided, tension lingered, with unresolved anger and ongoing investigations. The protests became a city-wide disruption, leaving millions wondering when normalcy would return. At the heart of the protests is a powerful and urgent demand for government accountability and transparency. People are no longer willing to accept vague promises or empty rhetoric. They want real answers and concrete action from those in power. The streets of Manila have become a stage for citizens to voice their frustrations and hopes, united by a common goal: to hold their leaders responsible for their actions. Demonstrators from all walks of life, students, workers, professionals, and even families, have come together, calling for corrupt officials to step down and for genuine reforms to be put in place. Their message is clear: the cycle of corruption must end, and those who abuse their positions must face consequences. The diversity of the crowd shows that this is not just a single group's fight, but a collective movement representing the entire nation. Protesters are demanding not only stronger laws, but also the strict enforcement of penalties for those who break them. They want systems that make government spending open and accessible to the public, so that every peso is accounted for. Transparency is seen as a crucial step toward preventing future abuses and restoring trust in public institutions. The movement is fueled by more than just anger or frustration. It's a strategic and organized push for lasting, meaningful change. Protesters are determined, their faces set with resolve, as they march together for a better future. They know that real reform takes time and persistence, and they are prepared for the long road ahead. Calls for lifestyle checks on public officials, a stronger and more independent ombudsman, and a robust freedom of information law reflect a sophisticated vision for the country's future. These demands show that the movement is not just about removing corrupt individuals, but about building systems that prevent corruption from taking root in the first place. The ultimate goal is to create a political culture where public servants are truly accountable to the people they serve. Protesters envision a society where transparency and honesty are the norm, not the exception, and where leaders are held to the highest standards of integrity. Protesters have made it clear that they will not back down. They vow to keep up the pressure, organizing more rallies, spreading awareness, and holding leaders to account until meaningful action is taken. Their commitment is unwavering, and their voices grow louder with each passing day. This shared vision of a transparent and accountable government gives the movement its enduring strength. It is this unity and determination that fuels their hope for a better tomorrow, inspiring more people to join the call for change and ensuring that the fight for accountability continues. In response, the government promised a thorough investigation into the Ghost Project scandal. Officials urged calm, but decades of broken promises left many Filipinos skeptical. The public doubts that powerful officials will face real consequences. The government's credibility now hinges on swift, transparent action, identifying culprits, filing charges, and recovering stolen funds. Anything less risks fueling more unrest. Protesters and citizens are watching closely, demanding proof, not just promises. The nation is locked in a tense standoff, with neither side backing down. The coming weeks will determine if justice is finally served. Authorities now face the challenge of processing over 200 arrested during the unrest, including minors. Investigators are working to determine if the violent agitators acted alone or as part of organized groups. Civil liberties advocates worry about wrongful arrests and the rights of detainees, especially children. The legal process will be closely watched as a test of the justice system's fairness. The outcome will shape public perception and the future of the anti-corruption movement. How the government handles these cases will have lasting repercussions. The protests have forced corruption into the national spotlight, creating a pivotal moment for the Philippines. The government's next steps will determine whether trust can be rebuilt or unrest will deepen. Protest leaders vow to continue pushing for reform, ensuring the movement's momentum endures. The nation stands at a crossroads, caught between demands for justice and the need for order. True peace will require genuine dialogue and credible reform, not just rhetoric. Rebuilding trust is a monumental task, but essential for a more just and accountable Philippines. The world watches to see if the country can emerge stronger from this crisis.